Hey, welcome to a series here on Android Studio. We're going to build an application that will demonstrate the GPS features of your phone. So you can see the app in this condition here. The latitude and longitude is registered, the altitude and the accuracy and the speed, and also the address at which you're located. There'll be a few switches here so we can turn the service off, turn it back on, switch it from the less precise to the most precise GPS settings. So that's just ahead. So in this application, here's some of the things that we're going to learn. We're going to be working with something called a Fused Location Provider Client. The fused idea is that there are multiple sources that you can get a location service. So not just GPS. You can use your Wi-Fi, you can use the towers, and if other applications on your phone are getting location services, your app can piggyback off of their work. In this tutorial, we'll show how to get permissions so that your users do not have to provide the GPS location if they don't want to. We're going to work with a class called Location Request. And so this will set the preferences for how accurate and how often you want your GPS service to be tracked. We're going to install the Google Play services, and we'll talk about what's required in making this phone application work. This will not work in places like China, but it will work in the rest of the world where Google Play services are allowed. The application will rely on an event listener called onSuccessListener. So success means successfully located myself, and whenever that happens, we will update the UI, or the user interface, on the application. We'll set up a method that will start and stop the location tracking service. And then finally, we'll work with geocode, which is the ability to translate a latitude and longitude coordinate into a postal mailing address, a street address. So here's a preview of what it's going to look like when we're done. A fused location provider will give us these coordinates and the rest of the data and your ability to control them and how precise they are. So the first step is to create a layout. So I don't want to spend a lot of time working on this layout, so take a look at what it is here, all the controls and their names. I will provide you with an XML file that you can copy and paste, or you can build it on your own. But the point of this activity is not so much about the user interface as it is the more complex tools that are behind it. So let's get started with making a new project. I have Android Studio. It looks like version 3.6.1 is the current for right now. So let's get started with an empty activity. So I'm going to give my application a name, something like GPS Tracking Demo. So for my location, I'm going to put in the domain name that I work at. So I'm at edu.gcu, which is Grand Canyon University, and then the name of my app. So I'll let the build process settle down, and then I'm ready to go. So let's start with the XML activity, and I'm going to the text view for this. So where did they put the text view? It seems like they changed it on this version. So if I go to right-click and choose Go to XML, I get the XML feed. Now I'm copying and pasting in all of the code that I'm going to be including in this new version of the app. So let's see what happens. If I click on the view to go back to the graphical user interface view, I get this. So you'll notice that for each of these items here, I have set a specific naming convention. So SW stands for switch, TV stands for text view, and let's see, is there anything else? It looks like TVs and SWs are the only thing I have in this version. But you can see the constraints are all properly set so that the layout is nice. So you can use my XML file if you like. I'll put it in the comments below. So it would be nice to see all of the UI elements in the code side by side. So instead of switching back and forth between these two tabs, I'm just going to split them. So I'm going to right click up here and choose split, let's try vertically. And so you can see that now I have two windows to work with. So I've got XML on this side and I can switch to Java on this side. So this way I can get all of these references quite quickly. So first of all, I'll put all the text views into place. So I'm going through each item that is not a label. So TV lat, TV lon, altitude, accuracy, speed, sensor, updates, and address are the ones I'm looking for. And I ignore everything that says label. Now, just a reminder of what all of these things are, that everything that has a 0 in it right now is considered a text view. Everything that just has the word listed over on the left side is considered a label, so we can ignore the labels, they're static. Now the two switches that I'm programming here are the switch for the location updates and also the switch called GPS. The next part is to go inside of the onCreate method. So remember, onCreate is what's called the first time that this activity is opened. So we need to give all of these variables an actual ID number. And so those ID numbers are found in the XML file. So we're going to let the findViewById function work for each of these. So remember to do lat, lon, altitude, accuracy, speed, sensor updates, address, GPS, and the location updates. So this is kind of a tedious process, but you got to go through it to make sure that all of these things work. So this would be a good time to test your app to make sure that we haven't mistyped any of these values. So let's run the app. All right, so if you get the app to run correctly, that's probably a good start. So we can test it out. There is no activity yet, of course. We've just got the controls and their values set up. But if you have an app crash here, then double check all your work. So all of that is ahead in just a moment. For right now, though, let's pause and take a break, and we'll be right back.